So you're pretty sure you have this amazing and inspiring cause. You've built a great fundraising campaign and you put it out there in the world and nobody donates a cent. Frustrating, right? In this video, I'm going to share 3 of the top reasons your nonprofit or social impact project might not be raising the money that it needs to and what you can do about it. Welcome back. I'm Amber Melanie Smith. I'm a nonprofit founder and executive director, and I make these videos here on YouTube to help people starting a nonprofit, creating a social impact, and lots of other stuff. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel for more videos like this, and ring the bell for alerts. Raising money is one of the most challenging aspects of leading a nonprofit or any social impact project, really, but it doesn't have to be. There's some common roadblocks that people run into when they're trying to raise money for a cause. So let's get into it. Here are 3 of those roadblocks. Roadblock number 1 might seem like common sense, but it's something that we as people in the nonprofit world don't spend enough time on, and that is getting people to know about your cause in the first place. Have you ever tried raising or starting to raise money for a cause or a project using something like, I don't know, GoFundMe or some other donation website, and you put it out there and nobody donates a cent, or maybe you get like 2 people to donate? There's a reason why this strategy rarely works. And it honestly has nothing to do with how good of a project or good of a cause it is. It might be the most interesting, inspiring, adorable puppies related cause in the entire world. What's really at work here is the same principle that applies to any business or artists or any nonprofit, and that is the simple concept that if people don't even know you exist, they can't even think about donating to help you out. Consider this, that even among all those people who do know about your nonprofit, only a small percentage are going to choose to donate to your cause. That means in order to get a substantially larger amount of people to donate to your cause, you're going to need a lot of people to know about you so that a small percent of those lots of people can make up a larger group of donors for your organization. I've talked extensively about the importance of relationship building when it comes to fundraising in past videos, but the fact is that building relationships with donors and building that donor base can follow a sort of process, and here's that process. The first step in this process is that a stranger, someone you don't know, learns about your cause and hopefully they like what they see. So they choose to connect with you further. Either they follow you on social media, they join a mailing list, maybe they email you personally or call you. They find some way to connect with you. So now they're connected. Step 2 in this process is that you build a relationship with that former stranger. That stranger is now an acquaintance, and you work on cultivating that relationship over time to make them a friend. And you can cultivate this relationship by inviting them to engage with you and your cause in more ways. Invite them to events, ask them for their own ideas or feedback. Just keep the conversation going. And learn a little bit more about who they are as people so you can understand what might motivate them to become a future donor. And eventually, you are building that trust and that relationship with them. And step 3 in this process is you make an ask. After building a relationship and establishing that trustworthiness over time, then you're in a position to make an ask for financial support for your cause. Not only does the person have to trust you and believe in your cause, they have to also be in a position where they can afford to make a donation at that time. So some stars have to align for someone to finally go ahead and make that donation to your organization, which means that you have to be working on establishing and cultivating and maintaining all of these relationships on an ongoing basis. So as you can see, you might need to have thousands of people connected to you or following you in order to even get a couple of hundred potential donors to support your cause with a monetary donation. That's why building up a base of followers and a network and building your relationships early on in your process of starting a nonprofit is an important first step. Okay, so moving on. The second reason that someone might not be donating to your organization or that you might not be meeting your fundraising goals is that people don't understand your mission. They don't understand what your organization does, or they don't understand how it meets the real needs of the community. If your mission as an organization or social impact project is not clear to the community, you're going to be missing out on some potential support. In our daily lives, we are just bombarded with noise from all angles, all industries, all causes and people wanting us to buy chips and all sorts of things. So marketing professionals know that in order to get a potential customer, you've got to be clear and cut through that noise. If it takes too much brain power to even try to understand your organization's mission, people might give up and move on. Figuring out how to be clear about your mission might sound really challenging, but there are a couple of things you can do to test to see how clear your messaging is for people. The first thing you can do to make sure that your message and your mission is clear and can resonate with people is to do a gut check and make sure that it aligns with the core values and the core motivations and reason you started this nonprofit or social impact project in the first place. What is your why? What's your big vision for why you wanted to do this? Ultimately, is it that you wanted to make sure nobody has to sleep on the streets anymore? Is it to make sure that kids have enough food to eat in your city? What is the ultimate purpose for your project? If you haven't taken the time to articulate this on your messaging and your website, social media, etc., you can start by just thinking through and writing down what you believe in. For example, if your ultimate goal is to tackle hunger, then you might say something like, I believe that nobody should have to go hungry. Pretty simple, right? When you put your values out there and you are clear about the end vision for your initiative, people will be able to connect to that and they'll say, you know what, I believe in that too. Let's join forces and do some good together. The next thing you can do to make sure that your messaging is clear is to make sure that it doesn't have any complex words or jargon in it. You want to be using simple language that should be able to be read and understood by anyone on a 6th or 7th grade reading level. And the third way you can make sure that your message and your mission is clear is to show rather than just tell. And what I mean by that is by showing the impacts of your organization on a regular basis. Don't just say, here's what we do, here's what we want to do. Show how you're doing it and show that it's working. You can do this through a lot of ways, but two very important ways are through storytelling and through metrics. Storytelling, you're talking about sharing the photos, sharing the testimonials and the stories of people that you've helped, the lives you've changed, etc. You can do this on your website, your social media, and anywhere where the public might be reading about your organization or learning about you. And on the metrics side, you need to be collecting data as you operate as a nonprofit or through your social impact project to make sure that you're tracking, is this working? And if not, how can we fix it? How can we improve it so that it will work? Examples of metrics might include things like the number of people that you fed, or the number of people who are not living on the streets a year after you helped them find housing. That's your long-term impact. That's an outcome. Being able to demonstrate these things will really solidify to the community how you operate and why your work is so important. And the third roadblock that might be preventing you from raising the funding that you need to support your nonprofit or your project is that you aren't engaging enough or frequently enough with the people who are following you. This point is really important, and it's related somewhat to the first point I made, which is about growing your relationships in the first place. But it was so important, I want to come back and talk about it a little bit further. I just want to reiterate how important this idea of relationship building is to meeting your fundraising goals. Let's take an example. Let's say you go to a party and you meet 10 people and they're just all great and you really want to be their friends, and maybe they even think the same of you, and it's just wonderful. And then you go back to your house and you don't talk to them, or maybe you wait for them to reach out to you. So do you expect that a friendship has formed if you don't reach out to them, if you don't talk to them? Would you feel comfortable reaching out to one of them 6 months or a year later and asking them to help you out with some kind of favor? And if you did, how would you feel if you were them? Hearing from someone that you haven't talked to in a long time, that you met once, that now needs a favor from you. How would that feel? On the other hand, what if you reached out to them regularly? You invited them to things, you engaged with them, you told them updates about your life and invited them to do the same for you. Then you've made a friend, and you'd probably have a higher level of confidence that if you needed their help, they'd be able to help you out. Newsflash, donors are human beings. They, like any humans, want to connect with people and organizations and build trust and be inspired. And they want to do all that before they invest their hard-earned money into your cause. So you got to be engaging your audience and potential future supporters regularly. You can do this through email newsletters or invitations to things that you're doing, or just shoot them an email and say, hey, how are you doing one day? Keep the relationship going. All these things will go a long way to establishing the trust that is needed as the foundation before you can ask for someone's money. So what do you think? What are some strategies that you've tried out and that have worked, hopefully, for overcoming fundraising barriers for your nonprofit? Share with our community by leaving a comment below, and maybe we'll get a good conversation going about that. Before we wrap up, I just wanted to share my exciting news once again, and that is that my nonprofit Founder to Full-Time Academy has finally launched, and that I've launched my first course that's part of that academy, Idea to Official. This course is ideal for people who are just starting out, just figuring out their nonprofit vision and haven't filed any paperwork yet and all that. So check out foundertofulltime.com if you want to learn more about that and see if that might be for you. I hope you found this video helpful and useful and all that good stuff. Don't forget, of course, to like the video, subscribe to my channel, ring the bell for alerts, etc. And if you are on Facebook, don't forget to check out my group, Change the World or Bust. We've got lots of people in there from all over the place talking about our nonprofit and social impact journeys and giving each other tips and encouragement and suggestions and feedback and all that good stuff. Thanks again. I'm Amber Melanie Smith, and I hope to see you next time.